Hello folks, welcome back to the paddock here at Silverstone this weekend for the 70th anniversary Grand Prix. Will Buxton and Lawrence Barretto with you. And Lawrence, the British Grand Prix last weekend ended in fascinating and spectacular style with all of those tyre failures.
Yeah, in those closing laps we saw Carlos Sainz, we saw Valtteri Bottas, we saw Lewis Hamilton all encounter those tyre problems. Pirelli have subsequently investigated the problem. They didn't have long, just a couple of days of course, because we're back here at Silverstone already. But they found solutions and they found a reason behind what happened, and they're confident this weekend that there shouldn't be any other further issues.
Now, you're not just taking that from a press release. You spoke to Mario Isola earlier today, and here's what the two of them discussed.
We made a thorough investigation, obviously, after the race. The fact that we had the safety car at lap 12 means that we have quite a high number of tires that had a very long stint, and it was possible to run the investigation not only on the failed tire but also on the other tires with the same mileage. What we assessed is that there was a very high stress on the front left tire. It is not a surprise in Silverstone. We know the characteristics of this circuit. It is quite unique if you look at the numbers that are coming. I mean, they are running the cops at 290 kph. With a vertical load that is in the range of 1,300 kilos on the single tire, not on all the four tires, and the lateral load that is on 1,400 kilos again on the front left. So it is a very high load on tires. We had the safety car that was pushing everybody to have a second stint that is very, very long, and that caused an excessive stress on the tire, together with some hits due to jumping on curbs and so on, that cause an initial loss of pressure followed by deflation. If you look at the tires, also if you look at the images, it is a clear situation when the tire ran flat. So the initial loss of pressure was, and also the fact that we had quite a high wear on the front left tire, means that the construction was not protected by the tread. All this made the tire fail in few cases.
And now I know it's not many days until the next race, you don't have a lot of time, but it sounds like you've got a good idea about what happened. We're going a step softer with the compounds this weekend. Does that give you confidence with increasing the tyre pressures as well, that we should be pretty safe this weekend?
Yeah, first of all, the reaction to that is that we release a new preview with a higher front pressure. The front pressure increased by 2 psi. Obviously, the pressure is protecting, is helping the construction, and 1 psi more on the rear. Even if on the rear we didn't experience anything, and also checking and analyzing the rear, we didn't find any sign of excessive stress on the construction. And the second point is what you said about the softer compounds. With softer compounds, we probably have a different race next Sunday with more teams planning a strategy on 2 stops, so shorter stints, that should be in the right direction as well.
Interesting stuff from you and Mario there, and fascinating to see. Obviously, Pirelli haven't shirked responsibility for it. No. They've been very honest, brutally honest, and said, yeah, look, it was down to the wear that we weren't expecting from the race.
Yeah, so that early safety car really led all the teams to run a much longer stint on those tyres than they were anticipating before the race. And then let's obviously not forget that they're running the 2019 tyres this year as well. We've got more downforce on the cars. You know, had Pirelli, say, used the 2020 tyres, it probably would have been a different story. So I think that all of those factors, including the fact that it's a high-speed circuit, a lot of force on that front left, all of those things added together for those excessive forces that Pirelli mentioned.
But it wasn't outside of the recommended number of laps to be run on those tyres, was it?
No, so the teams obviously are told by Pirelli what they think the tyres can do, but they don't mandate anything. Yeah. Because obviously every car is different, so the tyres react differently. So there wasn't any, they didn't feel that there was any real safety issue there. It was just a combination of factors that worked together to lead to those tyre deflations.
Obviously we look back to 2013, the tyre issues then. These tyre issues though, seemingly very different. It wasn't the tyre completely coming apart. Interestingly, it was really on that part where the sidewall meets the treads. Very, very similar incidents, in all of those occasions. And because of that, Pirelli are going to mandate different tyre pressures for this weekend.
I think so, as well as increasing the tyre pressures, and they get reducing the softness of the compounds this weekend.
Yep.
they're hoping that those two factors, combined with the fact that they know that running that longer stint is going to put pressure on those tyres, they're hoping that there won't be a repeat. The idea is the teams should probably do a two-stopper, and then that means that none of the stints will be stretched and we shouldn't have a repeat of those problems.
Well, we'd lean towards that with the softer compound anyway, wouldn't we?
Exactly, and I think that obviously there might be some teams that might try and push the bar, go for a different strategy option, but they know from Pirelli what the tyres can do, what the compounds can do, just about, I guess, what they're willing to do, what they're willing to risk, I guess.
And the other question, of course, is, so many of the teams had said they'd found cuts on the tyres. Not down to debris though, just down to the unique nature of this circuit and the curbing. Apparently.
Exactly, so when you look at all of those factors, the curbs, the higher pressure and the load that's put on the tyres here, particularly on that left front, and then the fact that the stints were much longer, all of those three together kind of led to that situation. A lot of drivers up and down the paddock, a lot of teams were saying a lot of cuts. I think Christian Horner said 50 cuts on Max's tyre when he looked at it. So significant, obviously not what Pirelli want to see, but they've done the investigation, they've seen why that's happened, and we know going forward that shouldn't happen again.
So essentially, softer compound this weekend, higher mandated tyre pressures, expectation on two stops. You can still do what you want to do, but as we saw last weekend, do so at your peril.
Exactly, and I think strategy-wise that should mix things up for the race on Sunday, which I think is great.
Great stuff. Thanks for that, Lawrence. Thanks for bringing us that interview with Mario Isola and clearing that up as to what happened. That's your lot from us for now from Silverstone. It should be a great weekend in progress. Thanks so much.